What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Money Midas. Let's go. So today we're gonna talk about the new dates on student loans and how a 77-year-old got scammed out of over 606 right after the intro. Let's get it. Let's go. All right, so first up, we got student loans. So let's talk about this update. This update came down today. Okay. This is from CNBC Finance. Student loan borrowers hit snags as payments resume. It's a challenging environment, head of loan servicer group says. The article. Key points to take away from this article. As payments resume after more than 3-year break, borrowers describe borrowers describe receiving incorrect bills, long wait times trying to contact their servicer. Challenging environment, says Scott Buchanan, Executive Director of Student Loan Servicing Alliance, a trade group for federal student loan servicers. Okay, this article is written by Annie Nova. All right, before the key word, the federal student loan system caused borrowers frustration and confusion as Biden administration resumes payment this month for some 40 million Americans. After more than a 3-year reprieve, the situation has been especially difficult. Borrowers describe receiving incorrect bills and spending hours on the phone trying to reach their servicers. One woman told CNBC the estimated wait time to speak to someone at her servicer was 542 minutes. Break that down real quick. Magic. So 540. Hours. Sit on the phone for 9 hours. That's crazy. It's a challenging environment, said Scott Buchanan, Executive Director. I read that part already. Sometimes there are incredibly divergent call hold times from what we'd like to see. Many recent government announcements related to student loans seem to be adding to confusion, Buchanan said. Though many of those developers or developments are positive for borrowers, including a recent cancellation of $9 billion in student debt. There's a lot of questions about who is eligible and how to thrive. Other issues may be due to a change and incorrect borrowers' bills under a new income-driven payment plan. How? That's confusing. How? Like, you got my documents and I was making this said X amount of payment per month, Like where is the confusion and how does that get confused? And then if you calculate, okay, if I was supposed to have been part of this 9 billion of student debt that got pretty much canceled, and that mean during that 3-year period, I should know anything. I should start back over at my original payment of whatever, $20, $30, $40, $50, how much I'm paying per month. Like, it seems very simple. Official warned of potential for ongoing confusion. The Supreme Court in June struck down President Joe Biden's broad plan to cancel up to $20,000 in student debt for tens of millions of Americans, rolled out in August 2022. For the High Court's ruling, a top official in the U.S. Department predicted some of the problems now unfolding. These student loan borrowers had the reasonable expectation and belief that they would not have to make additional payments on their loans. I just said. The Education Department Undersecretary James Hall said in a court filing last year. My bad if I butchered his last name. Write it down in the comments of how. Lest the department is allowed to provide one-time student loan debt relief, Hall went on. We expect this group of higher loan default rates due to the ongoing confusion. Former President Donald Trump first announced the stay on federal student loan and the accrual of interest in March 2020 when the C word, algorithm, you know what I'm saying. The C word hit the US and crippled the economy. The pause was extended 8 times. Everyone eligible for the relief took advantage of it, with less than 1% of qualifying borrowers continuing to. Standing education debt in the US exceeds $1 burdening Americans more than credit card or auto debt. It seems we have a problem with our education. Well, we already know we have a problem with the education system, but this is blatant that, you know, these educational institutions and centers, whatever you want to call them, is a blatant trap, blatant financial trap. Now, I'm not a person to speak against college. I mean, I'm a college graduate myself. Science, however, I think it's extremely ridiculous, you know, to have certain fees and or whatever you want to call it that don't really produce a high earning potential. You rope people into these extremely high bills, and it's ridiculous that after you've gone through all this training, all this studying, being up late, you know, getting the grades that you need, doing whatever you need to do to graduate, that there's no guarantee at the end of all this. So all that work and effort, all them hours, and there's no guarantee of work. This is ridiculous. It's asinine. New Save payment plan leads to billing errors. To ease the transition of borrowers, the Biden administration worked quickly to implement the plan option, which describes as the most affordable repayment plan ever. All right, I pulled the link up to. I'm gonna drop that link to the plan. I'm not gonna read it. It seems pretty lengthy. It's very lengthy. Well, not really, but I'll just drop the link for y'all to. Yet many borrowers who've signed up for the savings on a valuable save plan complain they've gotten incorrect bills. higher education expert Mark Krantrowitz, Mr. K, that's what we're gonna, Mark K, said that while he's heard from several borrowers who've run into the issue, he estimates that hundreds of thousands of borrowers may have been affected. According to Mr. K, Mark K, student loan servicers seem in some cases to be using the 2022 poverty line to calculate borrowers' payments instead of the correct 2023 figure. The SAVE plan is supposed to use the poverty data to shield a share of borrowers' income from their calculation. Miscommunication between services may also have contributed to the errors. Several of the largest companies that service federal student loans announced during the that they'll no longer be doing so, including Navient. Now, Navient was, I forgot who they were, but I was under a loan with one company, and then they got bought out by Navient and Fed Loan. As a result, about 16 million borrowers have had a different company to deal with this month. Now, Navient screwed me. Now, when I was with the other company, and it's so weird, and it makes absolutely no sense that it happened. I had my student loan on auto pay. Okay, it came out every single month on time, no problem. Okay. When it switched over to Navient, the same thing happened. Okay, the bill came out on time. Problem. Some strange reason, the very final payment, they said that they couldn't process the final payment because I needed to call in to have them pretty much transact the last payment. That made absolutely no sense, and because I didn't catch it, it hit my credit as if I was late. But how was I late when? And I got it around here somewhere, but I will show y'all my actual payment history from when I was with one student loan company, and then I switched over to the other student loan company, and you see a whole entire track record. I never missed a single payment. Whole track record of being on time. But this one last final payment, I had to call in. So, moral of the story is make sure that you watching your payments. Make sure that there's no fine print that you need to make a phone call for them to process the last final, because you can get screwed like that. And it was bogus, man. It was bogus. Whenever there's a change of a loan servicer, there can be problems transferring borrower data. I didn't have that problem. It is what it is, man. Water under the bridge. That was years ago. Meanwhile, Buchanan said that some of the data provided by the U.S. Department of Education has been wrong. Borrowers can sign up for the SAVE plan with their servicer or with the department. Having challenges with data integrity issues coming from the department, Buchanan said, meant a lot of questions. Spokesperson of the U.S. Department of Education said they've worked swiftly to resolve these problems. Must not be swiftly enough. This article is published today, and we still got these issues, so it ain't swiftly enough. It directed servicers to notify affected borrowers and put them into an administrative forbearance until they were able to calculate the correct payment amount. The spokesperson said, may also refund some borrowers. If you are an individual, I want to hear from you. If you are an individual that has been affected by these errors and the miscommunication of borrowers' data, if you've been affected by this and you've also been contacted by the administration for forbearance, put it in the comments. Say I was. You know what I'm saying? Put I was in the comments, because I want to know if they really doing what they say they doing. Are they really swiftly working to get this corrected? All right. Our top priority continues to be supporting borrowers as they successfully navigate return to repayment, they say. Still, consumer advocates caution that the new problems will only reduce borrowers' trust in the system. We've already lost trust in the lending system. Been lost that. Because of the misinformation being disseminated, borrowers are likely to make overpayments or underpayments and get cracked, said Ella. Y'all say your name crazy, but come on, man. Why it can't be something simple like Smith, Jackson? Something simple. Policy analyst at the Student Borrower Protection Center. Moreover, being forced to make incorrect monthly payments places additional strain on borrowers' monthly finances and puts some important necessities like that. That's our article about student loans. Okay, drop the link for that. And I'm going to drop the link for this plan that Joe Biden the save. You guys can look into that as well. All right, next, what I got on the list. I'm bringing this up because, on this channel, we talk about how, we need to have all these funds, emergency fund, your savings account, your investments, and the list goes on. That's the things that we need. Now, with that being said, when you're on your journey of making sure that you're putting yourself in the best position possible so that you'll be able to, when you're 77, you'll be able to be comfortable and you straight, have to worry about being scammed or anything, because you're only going to focus on vehicles that you've put your money into, and you're going to stick to those vehicles. Well, this says how this 77-year-old widow lost $661,000 and they realized I had been defrauded of everything. Key points: Marjorie Bloom, a retired civil servant. 1. Criminals use cryptocurrency. She lost the $661,000 was her life savings. Guys, you have to be careful. Be careful. This is how I know that the phone call is not legit. And it's not to say that all of them ain't, but a majority of them possibly are scam calls. Whenever you pick up your phone and you hear a weird sounding immediate click, it's either a click or it goes whoop, something like that, some sound of the sort like that, hang up the phone. 9 times out of 10, that is a scam call or it's an empty call from robots. Or if you pick up, it's a couple of them. If you pick up and they go, hello, and then they wait for you to say hello. You say hello, then they say hello. And they're either waiting for you to say yes, which when you say yes, then you're opting into, or it's like you're agreeing to something. Don't immediately just say yes. Don't do that. Sometimes they'll say hello like 3-4 times, and then they'll start talking, trying to get you to say yes, to agree to some type of service or something. Oh, it's a whole bunch more out there, but when it comes to the phone, it's real simple. When you hear something, if it don't sound right, you can answer the phone and It didn't sound, that don't sound right. If your homegirl call you, or your homeboy call you, or your mama call you, you don't hear no weird, you know what I'm saying, intermittent noises or nothing like that. Mama answered you, your mama called and you pick up, hey, what's up, mom? Hey, what's going on, baby? It's a blatant conversation straight out like that. You don't hear no weird noises. So watch out for that, man. Be smart. Know when something ain't right. All right. In the spring of 2021, Marjorie Bloom waited for a phone call that would never come. Over the course of the previous month, the retired had wired hundreds of thousands of dollars into cryptocurrency, per the suggestion of someone she believed to be a trusted man, claimed to be a fraud investigator at PNC Bank, where she been a long time customer. Okay. Been a lot of data breaches going on. Okay. This is how these people are able to get your information. They can play into this role because she banked at PNC. Okay. I'm just going to tell her I'm a fraud investigator. Well, she going to believe it. Blah, 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 blah. Here's what you do. Oh, you from Chase Bank? You from PNC Bank? You from Bank of, okay, no problem. Hang up the phone. And call the actual 800 number back and tell them to transfer you to the fraud department and ask them, hey, were you guys the ones that actually really called me about this situation that's taking place? You can do that. And they're going to tell you yes or no. Yes, we did. Yes, we did put a freeze on your account. We noticed this weird activity. Yes, that was really us. Or they're going to say, no, there's nothing wrong with your account. We don't see any weird transactions. We don't see any weird, nothing out of the norm. Like everything's normal. Oh, we don't have anything on your account. We didn't call you, you know. And be smart. Be smart. I don't even think the bank calls you. I have never, ever been in a situation where I had something go down and the bank called me. I had to call the bank. Hey man, why my payment didn't go through? Oh, well, you know what I'm saying? You in Chicago, right? Yeah, I'm in Chicago. Well, at the same time that you tried to make this transaction, another transaction in California tried to go through. What? No, I'm not in Cali. That wasn't me. You know what I'm saying? But again, I had to call the bank. They don't call you. They'll shut your card down, or you can set up SMS where you can have them send you text messages and you can reply back to the text message. You know it's them because you're the one that set that up. At his behest, Bloom, a widow who is now 77, liquidated her nest egg, savings, stocks, and annuity for a $661. Action was supposedly preventative. The investigator persuaded Bloom that criminals using stolen personal data were in the process of offering her life savings. All right, pilfer. Kill. Protect her money, he said she had to move it quickly and covertly. Divulging the problem to anyone, even her 3 children, could compromise their efforts, he said. Really? Has she alerted, or they'll hit you with this is the oldest one in the book. Oh, what is it? The IRS or some type type of federal agent. It's something of the sort like that where, oh, we're gonna, if you hang up this phone, we're gonna send the police over to your house and arrest you and all. No, it's crazy. These scams are crazy. Had she alerted her children, she might have avoided the scam. Bloom's daughter, Esther, is the deputy managing editor for CNBC Make It. Esther Bloom put CNBC in touch with her mother, but was not involved in the reporting or editing of this story. The investigator, though very convincing, turned out to be a wolf in sheep's clothing. Bloom, a retired civil servant, was ensnared in a tech support scam. And see, here, a lot of them, and I got a few calls on this. Hi, this is such and such from tech support. Tech support? Okay, which one? Which tech support? Almost every single company has a tech support. You from Microsoft? Are you from Apple? Are you from Samsung? Are you from LG? Are you from Epson? Are you from Tesla? What tech support are you from? This type of fraud is increasingly common and largely targets older adults who lost $588 billion to tech support. Insane. This is insane. $588 million? Criminals persuade victims they have a serious computer issue such as a virus, then masqueraded computer technicians from well-known companies as a cover for theft. Often, they persuade victims to wire funds to fraudulent accounts. They even got a chart on here. And again, you guys are going to get this link. There's a chart on here. It says losses from cryptocurrency scam. It says other 80.7 million. Personal data breach 58.7. Confidence or romance scams $93.5 million. 93.5. Tech support comes in at 166.1 million. Want to know what the biggest scam is there is? According to this data, according to this chart, biggest scam of them all, 716. So on that Friday morning in May 2021, Bloom eagerly awaited to call with instructions on how to access the life savings she had diligently taken steps to secure. Hours ticked by. Growing nervous, she eventually called the investigator. His number had been disconnected. She called PNC. Why didn't she call PNC the first time? Come on, lady. And I get it. You know what I'm saying? You panicking, you nervous. You got this weird phone call. All of that is understandable. All of that could have been avoided if you would have went to your kids anyway. How in the world do you convince? How in the world does somebody convince you not to talk to your children? I don't care if I got an AR-15 next to my head. Baby, blah, 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 blah. Never gonna convince me not to talk to my kid. Not going to the police, maybe. Maybe. And that's a big maybe. All right. She called PNC, but the bank didn't have a record of the employee. That's all it would have took. Bad, I'm reaching for drinks here. all it would have took was for her to simply just call the bank. Hey, I got a phone call from you guys, you know, some fraud investigator. Do you have an employee there by the name of this? Is there something going on with my account that I need to know about? Come on, y'all, make the phone call before you start panicking, before you start losing your mind, before you start trying to figure out what your next move's gonna be. There's only one move that you need to make if you get a phone call like this. Call the bank back. Even if they say, oh, you hang up, the police gonna come. It's a scam. It's a scam. Nobody calls anybody like that. The IRS does not make phone calls. The bank does not make phone calls unless you are specifically working with an actual banker on a specific thing that you got going on, and you know for a fact that that person that works at the bank is going to call you back. Other than that, the bank does not call you. Bank does not call you. The only time the bank has ever called me was to discuss a mortgage, because I was in the process of working out a mortgage. That was the only time I ever got a phone call from a bank. And I knew the individual I was working with because I went into the office and sat down in her office, seen her face, seen her real badge on her desk, seen her credentials on the wall. A real individual. All right. All of a sudden, this greatness lifted, said Bloom, who lives in Chevy Chase, Maryland. I realized I had been defrauded of everything. Money is there and the scammers know that. Bloom's experience reveals an unsettling reality at a time when technical advancement, little understood investment options, and a patchwork of protections in the was more older Americans to financial. I ain't got nothing else. That is facts. Americans 60 and older lost $3.1 billion to cyber fraud in 2022, an 84% increase from 84% increase from 2021, according to the FBI. Losses have jumped ninefold in just 5 years, from $342 million in 2017, FBI data shows. Because fraud statistics are based only on reported incidents, its true scope greater. Yeah, a lot of people may not report it because they don't want to look stupid. They don't want to feel embarrassed. They don't want to be embarrassed. Because they let somebody finagle them out of all this money. They don't want to look stupid. Total loss from cryptocurrency scams in US of 2022, we lost 1.1 billion. 2021, we lost 241.1 million. In 2020, we lost 1 million. Now, a lot of scams out there in the crypto space. Guys, like, if you want to get into the crypto space, I mean, fine, but just make sure that you're doing a ton of research. My recommendation, that's not financial advice of any sort, but I would recommend that you stick with more stable coins, you know, Bitcoin or Ethereum, something like that, if you're gonna get into it. Money is there, said Rebecca Keefley, supervisory special agent at the FBI and the Bureau's national program coordinator for the Department of Justice. Scammers know that. Keefley, also the FBI's national program coordinator for frauds and swindles, not involved in the investigation of the case. Meanwhile, the U.S. is undergoing a massive demographic shift as an average of 10,000 baby boomers hit retirement age every day. This generation has shouldered more responsibility for their retirement preparations as employers began shifting away from pensions to 401k type retirement. Consumers ages 65 and older have an average of $232,710 in 401k plan savings in 2022, according to Vanguard Group, one of the nation's largest retirement plan administrators. Further, 65 to 74-year-olds had a net worth of more than on average in 2019. Federal Reserve's most recent survey. Finances. That sounds like a drop. So I don't know if we're still talking about 1Ks or whatever, but I don't know. That's a big drop. If we went from 1.2 million to down to 232, that's a big drop. But we may be talking about two different buckets. Fraud may deprive victims of funds for basic living expenses such as food and shelter, or for travel and the leisure they'd worked so hard to attain. On the immediate financial hit, fraud has several knockoff effects. Victims who raid their tax-preferred retirement funds may owe the IRS a hefty bill. Taking out a second mortgage, maxing out credit cards carry regular payments. Older adults ability as younger victims to earn in the workforce, and it's often challenging to criminals or fight. I think that, especially with the way that the world is moving now, like the world is extremely tech. Whether you like it or not, whether you want to get involved with it or not, I mean, at this point, you ain't got no choice. It is what it is. If you want to move, and you move with the cheese. If that's just how I move, you know what I'm saying? If the money starts going into ironing boards, I'm gonna get into ironing boards because that's what the money is. I'm about feeding my family, period. I'm gonna do it right, but I'm not gonna do something because I just have a thought or a feeling about it, or there might be some stability there. Thought Kmart was going to be around forever. We thought Sears was going to be around forever. We thought Toys R Us was going to be around forever. Burger King closed down hundreds of stores. McDonald's has shut down stores. Taco Bell has shut down stores. So, it is what it is. What I'm getting at is, you need to figure out how to make money on your own. You need to become your own boss. Working a regular 9 to 5. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. But what I'm getting at is, don't ever think that that's stability. Don't ever think that that's stable. You could be thinking that, you rocking and rolling, and the next day and we no longer need your service. Or you know what? I just can't afford you no more. I'm sorry, you gotta go. Here's your slip. Here a little severance, and there you go. Sorry. If you get a severance, if you qualified for the severance, All right, tech support scams like the one Bloom suffered are an acute threat for older adults. They are a type of call center fraud. Which is what I brought up. I'm from tech support. Okay. A real simple way to kill that is just ask them which tech support are you calling from? There are hundreds of thousands of different tech supports in existence. Which one are you calling from? There are the type of fraud overwhelmingly target. About half of people victimized by illegal call centers are 60 or older, and they experience 69% of the total financial losses related to other age groups. Nearly 18,000 Americans ages 60 and over reported being a victim of tech support scams in 2022, the FBI said. That's more than any other type of elder fraud and almost double in 2020. So let's do this. I'm gonna propose this. How about an individual turns 60, and I ain't saying that we constantly got to babysit or hold hand or anything like that, but apparently this is a problem. We need to eliminate the problem, okay? What if we put in place some type of phone screening, you know what I'm saying, where anybody that tries to call someone's phone, it gets routed to another type of call center, like a buffer zone. It gets routed to them first. They answer the phone to see if it's a valid call. If it's a valid call, they will then send the call through. If it's not a valid call, they disconnect the call. That's it. I don't know how well that will work. It's just a thought. Don't come at me as if I already have this whole thing planned out, the ins and outs. I don't know. It's just a thought that I thought off the top of my head. But if we have a buffer zone in place that can help try to eliminate some of this fraud, we need a phone screening service. There's way too many empty robot calls coming through. These scam calls, according to this, 84% increased. They have revved up. This is a lucrative business. Lucrative business. They've even gotten to the point where they got smart to be able to mask numbers. So now when they robot machine or whenever another person call you, it'll show up as if it's a number that's in your zip code or area code. I mean, it'll show up as a number in your area code. So you're more likely to answer the phone because it's also a 773. It's also a 312. It's also a 630. But I mean, got to be careful with that too. Anyway, let's start a poll in the comments. If you agree with the phone screening buffer company or whatever program, whatever we can put in place, if you cool with that, put a 1 in the chat. If you not cool with that, put a 2 in the chat. You are completely okay and comfortable with a phone screen buffer company that will screen these calls to validate that it is or verify that it's a valid call. 1. If you're not cool with that, if you think that it's redundant, that don't make sense, put a 2. All right, moving on. Victims 60 and older lost more to these scams than all other groups combined. I should see a bunch of 1s. That statement alone right there should be no issue why we shouldn't have a bunch of 1s. We need a call center buffer. We need a call screen live person answering these phone calls to see. Victims 60 and older lost more to these scams than all other age groups combined. Yeah, reported. The average person lost $33,000, though losses extended to over $1 million in some cases. Bloom's case, her computer froze suddenly on April 22nd. Pop-up window alerted her to call a customer support phone number listed on the screen, supposedly from Microsoft. Microsoft does not do that. I believe the pop-up we're gonna get from Microsoft is the blue screen of death, and it's gonna give you code on that screen. Sometimes they flash real fast, but pop up and it's gonna give you like X0, a bunch of zeros, X's, whatever, and then like maybe some numbers and letters at the end. You can go on a working device and you can actually type in Microsoft code and type in that long code, and it'll tell you what the computer is trying to say is wrong. Bloom then made a key mistake. She called the number an action that real tech companies won't ever ask. Bloom then made a key mistake. She called the number. Oh, my bad. Okay, I got it. Called the number that popped up on the screen. An action, again, like I just said, an action that a real tech company will never ask you to do. They don't do that. During the call, a Microsoft engineer, let's do this. You can actually, let's look up the actual job descriptions at Microsoft. Jobs. Okay. Engineer is a position at Microsoft. However, it's not Microsoft engineer. That don't exist. What exists is senior service engineer, senior software engineer. Senior research software development engineer, senior network security service engineer. You get what I'm saying? Microsoft engineer doesn't exist. Back to it. During the call, a Microsoft engineer told her that foreign hackers had hijacked her computer, stolen sensitive personal data. Her financial accounts, he suggested, were also likely under threat. So, what she was a victim of, they're probably, and this is only because I'm a tech, she was a victim of what they call ransomware. What ransomware is that it's a really bad virus, and you can't get rid of it. And the only way to really get rid of it is you completely just reinstall the operating system. There's no way around it, really. But what they do is it'll completely lock out the whole entire computer. You have no access to anything. Turn it off and on, and when you turn it back on, it'll go right back to that ransomware. Be a pop-up window. Oh, you need to call this company. You need to call Microsoft. You need to call Dell. You need to call HP. Whatever. And it's all a scam. They gonna ask you to send some money. They gonna act like they gonna remote into your computer. They not. They just take your money, and then you still stuck with the ransomware on your computer. So the best thing to do is to shut the computer down, out the hard drive, get an external hard drive. Okay, get an external hard drive. What to do is you want to put some software in place, so if it detects any type of malware, spyware, anything like that, ransomware, whatever, it'll actually block off that either that application or whatever file that has it. It'll block that path. But then you'll be able to gain access to all your pictures, documents, whatever you got on there. Transfer everything off. Put the hard drive back in the computer. Reinstall the operating system. Put all your data back on. And now your computer is ransom. What I also recommend is don't click on unknown links. Don't even open the email. Don't even open the email. A real quick way, like a lot of services now, and I believe Google even does it now, where you can actually do like a proof. Before you even open it, it'll give you like a little skim of what the email is about. And another way to tell that it's a scam email is literally just go to the top of the email and see who it came from and click it, and it'll open up, you know what I'm saying, who it came from, or the actual address that it came from. And if it don't look right, you know, maybe I'll show y'all one that usually filter all that out, so I don't really get that in my emails. One of these days I'll show you guys. Anyway, when Bloom told him she banked with PNC, engineer who was really an artist transferred her to an accomplice posing as a PNC fraud investigator. Convinced Bloom that they were pending transactions worth $29,000 tied to her bank account. Money had to be moved without a new account, the scammer urged. None of it was true. None of it was true. Fell for it, said Bloom, who retired in December 2017 after serving 42 years as a federal attorney. Serious. She was an attorney. One of the most highly educated people. Are you serious? Including stints at the Department of Energy and, most recently, the Benefit Guarantee Corporation. Tell anybody, Bloom at it. Again, silly, stupid. Insert here. I get it. Yeah. The appearance of an immediate threat is an age-old psychological technique. I'm gonna stop there. You guys get the gist of it. There's a whole lot more in this article. A whole lot more. I'm gonna stop there, man. I've been rambling. So let's go ahead and get into it. Let's move a couple dollars around. We ain't gonna move much today, man. We done already ran through a lot of minutes. We already pretty much almost an hour in just talking about these articles. So let's go ahead. Let's move a couple dollars and we gonna call it one. Right, let's get it. All right, so we went in. We was just at $10, but we dropped to $8, but we still up. Okay, there's a lot of red in the market going on, man. We got some greens, and then we just got a river of red. That's okay. I mean, with everything going on in the world right now, it is what it is. So it's not finna stop us from putting in, okay? So let's go ahead and do this. We're probably just gonna do all of our regulars, and we finna get up out of here. We're gonna bounce up out of here, all right? You already know what it is. Start with our V and Q. Oh, and by the way, I had dividends drop. That's our dollar there. We had some dividends drop. I'm gonna show you. So if you watched the last episode, we only had like $87 in the account. Dividends drop. 100, but we was just at 118. Now we at oh. $5. that's it, man. You know what I'm saying? We move four bucks, $5. Still rocking and rolling, still trucking along, slowly but surely building it. Again, the whole purpose of it. Not comfortable putting in a couple dollars here and there, then you'll never be comfortable putting in 100, 200, 300, $1 million into the market. You'll never be comfortable doing that if you can't even work with dollars. So the goal here is to get you comfortable and to get you to start doing, your own research and start, delving into it, like really getting into it. And saying this is fun to me, playing the game of money is something that I enjoy. That's it, man. I'm gonna catch y'all on the next one. Again, $661,000 she got hit for. Some people been hit for a meal ticket. Feel bad, at the end of the day, man, that's a lot of bread, feel bad for her, but at the same time, she didn't use any, she's an attorney and she didn't use any good judgment at all. She didn't use any of her own due diligence that an attorney is supposed to do. I do feel bad for you, you know what I'm saying? Something major happens for you, hopefully they can track these guys down, man. It is really hard, man. Especially if you say, like it's pretty almost impossible. But hopefully something happens for her. All right, y'all. I'm out. Peace.